Hi, my name is James Shepard, and today I want to talk to you about the two phases of success. The two phases of success. Now, this is going to be a little mini-series I'm going to run, and I really want to talk to you about success, building a business, and make this content a little bit more generally applicable to those of you that are out there in this industry that either you're looking at your sales career as, hey, I just started a business, or you're trying to build a point-of-sale company or software, whatever it is, and just talk to you a little bit about building a business. And today I want to talk about the two phases of success. I've been listening to several really good books lately. One of the ones I'm listening to right now is Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. And, one of the things that is so interesting to me is that as I've listened to hundreds and hundreds of audiobooks about business, read probably 1,000 books about business, I'm an avid reader, there's one thing that I feel like is just not being effectively communicated about success, and that is the two phases of success. Success really doesn't make sense when you talk about it in a context of starting point and ending point, and you just have this kind of smooth pathway from not making very much money to making a lot of money, as if it's like this smooth process that just takes place over time. It's not like that at all. Success really comes in two phases, and I think it's extremely important that you understand those two phases and that you recognize which phase you're in so that you can more effectively embrace reality and do the things you need to do to get to where you want to go. The first phase of success is what I call the building phase. The building phase. Now, what is the building phase? The building phase is where you are building leverage by focusing on one thing for a long period of time. Okay? Now, the building phase is not usually associated with making lots of money. It's not usually associated with lots of fun and, excitement. It's not usually associated with lots of leisure time. The building phase is when you are building leverage by focusing on something intensely for a long period of time. Now, throughout this series, I don't normally do this, and I don't like to come across as narcissistic or trying to focus too much on myself and what I've done. But I am going to use this as an example because I think a lot of you know my story a little bit better, so maybe you can relate to that. So when you think about the building phase, you could go on YouTube right now and you can still see 3 or 4 of my videos back when I lived at a house in Duncansville, and I had my little grainy webcam and terrible audio, and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm making videos. Now, how much money was I making off of those videos at that time? Zero. How much money was I making off of those videos 12 months later when I had spent 4 and 5 and 6 hours every single day making content, posting blog articles, posting podcast episodes, building my Twitter following? Like, how much money was, after 12 months of that, I must have been making tons of money off of it. I was making zero. How much was I making 24 months after doing all that off of all those videos? I don't know, maybe $1,000 a month? That's the building phase. And see, during the building phase, what I was doing was I was generating leverage. My leverage was you. You're my leverage. You're watching my videos. You're in this industry. You trust my content because I've been doing it for a really, really long time. I've been focused on it. And executives in the industry know who I am. People in the industry know me. They know me as the guy that puts the content out, that does the training, that does the consulting. They know me as the credit card processing sales guy. And I was building that leverage. Now, while I was doing that, I had to also sell credit card processing and build my own local ISO because I had to make money. And I wasn't making any money off of the videos. And so what was happening was I was giving up my leisure time. I was giving up, my fun things I could have done. When I started making those videos, the year prior to that, I made about $90,000 that year working for a company, working for a big company as a sales trainer for them. Now, I could have kept that job. I could have gotten another job making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000. But instead, I probably made $30,000 that year when I started making those videos. You know why? Because I was putting all of my time into making these videos and I wasn't making any money. That's because I actually wanted to build a business. I wanted to build something. And so that building phase is a phase where you look at it and say, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice and I'm going to build leverage. And again, the way you do that is very simple. Find something you're passionate about, and then you focus maniacally on that one thing, and you recognize this is not the big success phase. This is not the monetization phase like I call it. This is the building phase. This is the phase when I'm just going to give and give and give and give as much value as I can to anybody that I can, as long as it's narrowly defined in my niche, and I'm not going to care about making money off of it. I'm not going to to care about, was I able to make it to bowling league today? I'm not going to care about golf. I'm not going to care about any of that because I'm in the building phase and I'm building a business. That's phase number one. Now, phase number two is monetization. Phase number two is monetization. And that phase looks totally different than the building phase. And so again, when you read these books about successful people or you meet successful people, you're going to be tempted to emulate them. And that is a huge mistake. Let me say that again. When you meet somebody who's very successful and you decide you're going to emulate or copy them, that is a huge game over mistake. You know why? Because you're not seeing them in the building phase. You're seeing them in the monetization stage. What they're doing is they're taking all that hard work and sacrifice that you didn't see that was most likely behind the scenes, and they're taking the leverage they built up and now they're monetizing it, and they're taking that leverage and they're using it to make money, to then take that money and reinvest it back in their business, and they are in that monetization stage. So you have to be very careful to find people that you're like, oh, I really want to copy that person. No, what you need to do is ask them, hey, tell me about when you first got started. What was it like? What did you learn from that experience? How many years did it take before you were making six figures, right? So when you're in business, you have to understand there is that sacrifice time, and a lot of people just don't understand that because they see successful people and they're like, oh, I want to do what they do. They go network all the time by playing golf, half the day, and they go to events and they go do all these different things, and they just go and flying around the country. That must be what you do to become successful. No, that's what you do after you've become successful. That's what you do to monetize the leverage that you have built up. But many of you and many people that I talk to on the phone, one of the big things they're missing is they're like, James, I want to be successful. Well, what do you mean by that, right? Which phase are you in? Are you in the building phase or are you in the monetizing phase? If you're in the building phase, don't tell me how much money you want to make. Tell me how much sacrifice you're willing to make, because that's what's actually going to determine your ability to really build something down the road, is those 2, 3, 4 years of you just going through the motions, working really hard, sacrificing your leisure to build leverage that you can later use to make money. My name is James Shepard. Keep watching this episode. I'll give you some more tips on building a business.